out there. You're welcome once again to Sports Orbit, Wednesday edition of the program. My name is Afa Cho Salif Usman, joined also on this edition of the program. Salifu, welcome to Sports Orbit.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, also joining us today again is Wale Ayeni, all the way from the United Kingdom. How are you doing today?
Very, very good, Alpha. How are you, Salifu? How are you doing? London is cold. It's winter already, so we just have to, live with it at this point in time.
Right, welcome to the show. All right, we'll begin straight from the African continent, where for the first time in history, going into the World Cup Qatar 2022, all five representatives of Africa in that tournament will have homegrown coaches who will be leading the awards as the competition begins. And this is the first time ever in the history of this competition where African sides going into the tournament will all have home-based, or should I say, homebred coaches leading them to the site. In the past, and what we usually had was, mostly European or South American coaches leading African teams. But this time around, I think Africans are beginning to look inwards. Of course, over the years, a lot of African ex-players, with the experience they had in their playing days, a lot of them have gone to coaching and haven't been doing too bad. And a lot of these federations feel we have our coaches who are not doing too badly. I mean, for someone like Cisse, who even won the Nations Cup, we have coaches who are not doing too badly, and let's give them a chance. And here we have, for Cameroon, Morocco, Tunisia, Ghana, and Senegal, all African coaches leading these teams to the tournament. For me, this is a good one.
Yeah, Alpha, thank you. Just like you said, to me also it's a positive development in Africa football. And every Africans, if you're African or any black race, should be proud of this development. Although you may say that what is their pedigree, what is their experience, nobody is born with experience. Experience are learned on the job. Nobody come to this world with experience. So you get experience. So I commend the Africans that Africa will begin to look forward that this is better we develop our own, this is better we take of ourselves. Nobody will come to take of you than the way you take of yourself. Nobody will know you better than the way you know yourself. Nobody will come to build your house than the way you build your house for yourself. So it is better we begin to look inward, and it's good that we are beginning to take the right step that by relies on ourselves. Yes, to me, it doesn't depend, or it doesn't matter whatever the outcome of those African teams go to the World Cup. And they crash out at the group stage. As an African, I will dog my head hard for those teams that yes, African coaches went to the World Cup, and it's clearly begin to send a signal that even the European, the journeymen that are always coming to Africa. If you look at it, it's even better that we begin to look at ourselves. Most of the Europeans or the South Americans that are always coming to coach African team are just a job man. None of them has ever been a high profile coach. If you look at all the pedigree of African coaches that have come to Africa, they only come to use an Africa as a stepping stone for them to enhance their own career. None of them has won a World Cup. None of them has won a major tournament in Europe or South America before. They only come to Africa to use it as a step. Those are those that know that they can't get job in their own continent or in their own region. They come to Africa and feel that they are better. So, and I quite commend the Africans going to this World Cup, and I believe that surely that Africa has even begun to do well in compared to the African. If you look at the last since 2006 African Cup of Nations, in the last 6 editions of the African Cup of Nations, 6 are won by African coaches. It is only 3 that were won by other European coaches. For instance, in 2006 it was won by African coaches. Hassan Zeda of Egypt. The same 2008, the same African coaches, 2010 African coaches. In 2012, it was won by a champion who was called by Renades, from France, who was won. Then 2013, it was won by an African coach in our own student Keshi also. Then in 2015, it was won by the same Renades who after leading champion to 2012 and then lead to Cote d'Ivoire, then to 2017 to 2015 beating, and then the Cameroonian who was won by their former Hogus, who also won for Cameroon. And then in the last 2 editions, were won by all the same thing as the African coach. The last Algeria coach who won the 2019 was an indigenous coach. And then don't forgetting the last one won by Papa Sisi. So African coach, if in the last 9 editions of African, and 6 of them were won by Africa. with the presence of even other coaches from Europe or from coaching the Africa team. So it is a good development. Although if you look at all the coaches, 5 of these coaches, looking at their pedigree, they may not have enough job experience. If you talk about the only person that in the case that have a lot of experience is CC, who this is going for his second World Cup, and also he has coached at that two edition of African Cup of Nations and then a match champion. So he has gathered a lot of experience. If you talk about Rigobert Song, yes, Rigobert Song is a no-nonsense Africa player. Everybody know his player and what he has achieved with Cameroon and the national team. But on the coaching job, much has not been achieved with him. He only coach African Cameroon home-based team, which did not achieve much result. The other 23 team doesn't achieve much result. But Cameroon picked courage that no, they should lead us to the World Cup. I commend the Cameroon for their courage. The same thing you can talk of the Moroccan and then even at the country of Tunisia. The same things, although they are all managed to be assistant coaches for the national team. And if you don't forget that the country of Tunisia was an assistant at the last Africa Cup of Nations. But after the group stage was and because of what happened to the Tunisia coach, due to the COVID, he couldn't play. He couldn't COVID, so Kadi has to replace it in the second round of matches. Wins eliminated Nigeria, and that had give him opportunity. Okay, Tunisia now keep faith in him. Okay, you can now go ahead after sacking the coach, and then he went ahead to qualify at the expense of Mali. So I believe yes, they may not have the experience, they may not have achieved more, but it is just like I said, that nobody is born with experience. You learn experience on the job, and it's good that we begin to throw our heart into our own ambition now to give them opportunity to go ahead.
Yeah, all right. Moving on to another World Cup story where, of course, it emerged yesterday that Sadio Mane, although it has not been confirmed, he sustained an injury in Bayern Munich 6-1 victory over Bremen in a Bundesliga match. Of course, he was injured that one barely 20 minutes into the match, but from what and the coach said, they'll have to do a scan and X-ray and give an update to see the extent of the injury. But from what Nagelsmann was saying, that he feels it might not be too much of an injury. While looking at Sadio Mane, just 11 days to the World Cup, and this should be a breaking news to Senegal. And I can imagine everybody of all faiths in Senegal should be on their knees right now, engaging in intense prayer and fasting to ensure that Sadio Mane recovers before the World Cup.
Okay, just before I react to Sadio Mane's injury, I just want to quickly talk about the 5 coaches who are going to coach the African team to the World Cup. For now, news have been flying right, left, center concerning the coach of Ghana at this point in time. Some players who both people feel that they should actually make the 26-man list in the Ghana setup. The player now that actually play for Crystal Palace is not going to make that particular team. So most people have been questioning, the kind of politics that actually goes around when it comes to selection of players that will actually be going into the World Cup. So this is where the African coaches must actually, watch it very well. They need to actually pick players who are fit, players who they know that they can actually deliver the job, not players who will actually go behind and give them money. And those are the players who they will actually invite to the national team. At this point in time, we need the best players who can actually come to the party any day, anytime, so that they can be called up to the World Cup. Then talking about Sadio Mane at this point in time is a heartbreaking, news, not just for Senegal at this point in time, but for the entire Africa, continent at this point in time. We all know, his influence with the Senegalese team. We saw how he actually, aided, the Senegalese team to win the last, Nations Cup. We know he has a great, contribution, great influence on the team, both the technical crew and the players at this point in time. It will be disappointing, not getting him to see him play at the World Cup. But at this point in time, this morning news coming in that he has been confirmed that he will miss the World Cup. So it's just a big blow no for Sadio Mane and for Senegal at this point in time. So many players, the likes of Reece James for England, also is going to miss the World Cup due to injury. So at this point in time, I feel players should actually take it easy. But for me, I still feel Mane should be included to the team because he's a lot of experience. Even him sitting on the bench, we actually inspire the players to actually put on the 100% performance for Senegal. So I still feel the coach should still at least put him on the list so that he can actually go to the World Cup. Who knows? Senegal might actually cross to the round of 16, and they might actually get to the quarterfinal. Who knows? Maybe he can start playing from the semi-finals and eventually play in the final. So I still feel that Senegal can actually include Sadio Mane in the list. But at this point in time, just to let people know, countries can actually change the numbers that can actually change a player before 24 hours of their first match in Qatar. So if a country draws up a 26-man list, and eventually, if maybe a player in that 26-man list got actually get injury, during trainings or during a pre-World Cup friendly, they might actually not get to change and replace the player 24 hours before their first game in Qatar. Alpha.
All right. Moving on, still on the World Cup anyway, where former FIFA president that's talking about Sepp Blatter has actually admitted that the Qatar 2022 World Cup is actually a mistake. Recall that Blatter was president of FIFA when that hosting right was awarded to the Middle East nation, and that decision, has been marred in controversy, including allegations of corruption, human rights violations since it was announced. And because this World Cup is going to be staged in Qatar, that's the reason why we're having this World Cup, which is starting in November. Exactly. And you can see the effect it's even having on players. Because, this is one World Cup where almost every day you hear a news of one player or the other who will be missing the World Cup. Because the timing is completely wrong for you to stage a major competition in the middle of the season. In fact, not even the middle of the season, right at the beginning of the season when players are just trying to get into the rhythm. Previously, when you're staged in between June, July, the league must have ended. Players are usually have time to rest before they go into the World Cup. But this time, leagues will be suspended for players to go into the World Cup. And we can see what is happening. Sadio Mane playing a game yesterday, getting injured. Don't forget that there are still some matches that will be played in the Carabao Cup tomorrow. And the weekend, there are EPL matches. And who knows which players might still be getting injured this weekend before the World Cup begins.
Yeah, just like you say, and let just little things about Sadio Mane before this. Sadio Mane, not just in Senegal, I think all Africans are widely devastated about the situation that's what happened before Sadio Mane, because he's a top-ranked Africa player going to the World Cup. Definitely everybody wants to see him at the World Cup. Going to the World Cup without Sadio Mane is another big blow, just like everybody's talking about our own Vitosime, that the World Cup is going to be the World Cup would have been right place for Vitosime to show his skill, but also Nigeria is not there. So meeting Sadio Mane at the World Cup, it could be grand. Just like Wale Shoye said, I think Senegal should pick that up. Either Sadio Mane is going to play, is not going to play, he should be included in the squad. Let us sit on the bench because his experience, his presence will definitely influence the team. And then talking about the Qatar World Cup, everybody knows. I think Blatter has not said anything. He just tells us what we already knew.
Very well.
Everybody is already quite aware that, and very disappointing that Qatar World Cup was a total disaster and a complete mistake. No doubt about it. Qatar, they have tried their best. They have the facility, they have the capacity, but World Cup is just like Qatar. He admitted in his own statement. World Cup is a world global stage, and Qatar is too small.
Too small. Qatar is not. It's not as big. It's not bigger than Abuja.
It's not even big. It's not. It's not. Yeah, I agree.
Of course.
Abuja,
Yeah.
Yes, Abuja is big. It's larger than Qatar, and then Qatar is too small to host the whole world.
Exactly.
We're talking of the whole world conversing in one country, and Qatar is too small. And I think that the weather conditions, and now see how they have what it has caused to the entire football. It has altered everything that football bring. Now a whole lot of things, nobody's happy. The coaches are not happy. Nobody's happy with the situation. But sometimes leaders should begin to think about the interest of the general interest of the whole world or the nation than looking at your personal view or personal interest. Yes, we may have good intention. The good intention was to spread the World Cup around, let all the continent have the taste of the World Cup. We have said it only be in Europe, it has only been in South America. Let's move it around. We take it to Africa, take it to Asia. Now you want to take it, but it's good. But Qatar is so small for the World Cup, and now everybody we are feeling it. Because of that, we have everything about football has been altered. We can't play World Cup in the middle of season. And now here we are. And now even the players are not comfortable with it. We have the whole league around the world has to be cut off just for a whole month for people to go and play World Cup. And I think people should begin to learn from this mistake.
All right. Wale, we'll go on a break, but when we come back, you comment on this issue. For now, let's go on a break, and when we come back, Sport Orbit continues.
Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.
All right, welcome back from that break. It's still Sports Orbit on Leadership TV. Yeah, before that break, we're talking about Blatter's statement admitting finally that the World Cup in Qatar was a mistake. I mean, Wally, this is something that everybody knew. We all know the backlash that followed when Qatar, got those hosting right, and it was one of the reasons that one of the things that put Blatter and also Platini into trouble. Of course, there are stories that on underhand financial dealings, wrong financial dealings. Money changed hands in order for Qatar to get these hosting rights, and now he's coming out to admit that it was a big mistake.
Mm. Just to let you know, the whole of Qatar is just 2.2 million thereabout when it comes to the population of Qatar, and the tournament will be actually be hosted in just one city, eight stadium in just one city. It shows that it's going to be massive people trooping in. At this point in time, over 40 million match ticket has been sold by FIFA. So it just shows you how there will be a whole lot of influx of people going to Qatar at this point in time. But for me, the deed has been done already. We just have to move on at this particular time. It was a mistake, but I will not really say it was a completely mistake because we know that the coming of the World Cup in Qatar has further, boost, sporting development in Qatar in that particular region. So it has actually, facilitated them to build more stadiums and to actually encourage, football in Qatar. But going forward, but FIFA will just need to watch, every logistics, everything mapped out, every plan to ensure that a country is fit enough, to actually, host the World Cup. And also looking at the timing, we know it's a very, very bad timing at this point in time. Majority of the leagues are on, and the leagues will be actually be on break for a period of not less than 2 months. So it shows that. Because we know that football is the World Cup is the biggest tournament in the world. So at this point in time, we just have to go with the trend. It was a mistake, no doubt about it. But from the mistake, we just have to learn from it and to move forward.
All right. Still on the World Cup, where of course volunteers have been enrolling and answering a call for blood donations, like Wally rightly stated. A lot of influx of visitors, into Qatar, and a lot of volunteers also have enrolled, with the Hamad Medical Corporation, being Qatar's main provider of healthcare services, and these volunteers are having final training sessions, for the World Cup, and basically what they are there for is in case of emergency needs where people might need emergency blood donors and all of that. So I think and on the health part of it, also preparations also going on.
Qatar. Well, you can't take away from them. They are always determined to achieve what they want to achieve, and technology-wise, they are up there. And we hope that we will record a lot of casualties in this World Cup because the size of Qatar and compared to the number of the team, the people that are going to compete in Qatar, is going to even twice the size of the population of Qatar.
Exactly.
So and if they have just like we have about 4 million ticket has been sold, and let feel that this 4 million ticket is outside the team officials. It's outside the team of all the national team are not, they don't need ticket to come to the World Cup. And even the coaches, this 4 million are just fans who are buying ticket to come and watch the cup. It's outside the FIFA officials, it's outside the team and the team, the company or everything that are coming. So ultimately, we are talking about over 4 million or close to 4.5 or 5 million coming to combat in Qatar. Then in addition to Qatar people who are also doing this, you can imagine the kind of influence of people, and then the weight of the pray that we will not record a lot of casualties in the World Cup. And it's good that Qatar have taken precautions in the events of emergency. They should not be rushed short of anything that may occur. Very good, and also commend those who are willing to donate their blood in the case of the event of eventuality.
Of course, there will not be sales. Just to add, there will not be sales of alcohol in public places. I feel that will also be reduce, the numbers of casualties because we know that when people are drunk, there's every tendency for them to actually misbehave. So I think it's one of the good way that Qatar are using, to actually, curb, when it comes to, getting people's lives in danger, and also looking at venues, looking at where people will be staying. There are ship crews, hotel accommodation, there are festival, villages that have been built and all that, and also there will be World Cup festival. So I feel that Qatar has actually mapped out everything to ensure that they actually curb anything that wants to happen to endanger those that will be coming to Qatar. Alpha.
All right, moving away from that, Liverpool and Brazilian midfielder that's talking about Roberto Firmino has actually broken his silence, expressed his displeasure after he was excluded from the Brazilian squad that was unveiled, earlier this week from the World Cup. But in all of that, no hard feelings. It was just a message, and of course, a lengthy message. He also congratulated and wished the team going to Qatar well as they go on. While looking at the omission of Robert Firmino, a lot of people have actually questioned the decision of Coach Tite to actually leave him out. Do you think the coach is his omission justifiable? If you, in your opinion?
Of course, nobody will actually get to agree with the Brazilian coach at this point in time because looking at Firmino performance in the English Premiership this season, for me he's the best player. He's the best Brazilian player playing in the English Premiership at this point in time. Out of 9 Premier League games, he has scored 6 goals. He has made 5 assists. He's the highest. He's ahead of Gabriel Jesus of Arsenal. He's ahead of Martinelli. He's ahead of this guy that plays for Tottenham. Yeah, so I feel I wonder why the guy playing for Tottenham will be in the list and Firmino will not be in the list because he has not even scored any goal in the EPL. He has played almost 9 matches. He has just made 2 assists for Tottenham this season, and he's been called ahead of Firmino. I feel it's just not just a good one for Brazil at this point in time. But maybe the coach has his own tactics, how he wants to approach the World Cup. Who knows? The coach actually knows the player very well. But when it comes to looking at current form and player performance in the English Premiership, Firmino is the best Brazilian in England at this point in time. Also, the likes of Fred. Fred has not been fired with us cylinders when it comes to Manchester United, but I was so surprised he was actually listed among the players who will be playing for Brazil in Qatar. Alpha.
Yeah, but for I think I can have an excuse for the likes of Richarlison and Fred. For Richarlison, when it comes to playing for the national team, he seems to perform very well. But when it comes to playing for his club, same for Fred. It's surprising that when it comes to Brazil, in that defensive midfield position, it's usually Fred and Casemiro who are being paired. And Fred seems to have a starting spot in the Brazilian team, but he comes to the club and he doesn't do so. Like you said, it could be depending on how the coach wants to play. Sometimes, like they always say, playing for your national team and playing for your club are always 2 different things.
Yeah, when you come to selection of players, the only lies on the coaches that depend. And sometimes, we as ordinary as a fans, we look from the point of view who is best currently for. Yeah. But coach who wear the shoes know where the places and know depending on the tactic and the formations you want to play. Okay, for instance, you may say, okay, this just like in the case of Firmino we are talking about. He may feel in our own point of view, Firmino know that about it is one of the powerful strikers in the EPL, good striker in the EPL, and has done well for Liverpool. But based on the coach tactic you want to play, thinking what you want to play, he may feel okay. Firmino, he has other strikers also coming from other league, and he may feel that Fred Firmino may not fit to his plan, or Firmino may be a surplus for depending on the way on his playing. Yeah. So we sometimes shouldn't look at beginning to compare with why is it just like when we say okay, why Fred will make the team, Firmino will not make the team. Why Jesus will make the team, Firmino will not make the team. Why Martinelli will make the team, Firmino will. It depends on the tactic and the coach was what to do. So, and it's good that Firmino has also accepted in good faith,
very
no
well.
hard feeling.
Yeah.
It's okay. No, but and thanking God that he has also moved and he's moved ahead and wishing the
Exactly.
team well. So it depends. This is not the end. He's still young and he still have his time with the Brazilian national team. So it's good and we should respect the decision of a coach anytime the coach take a decision.
All right, to our final story before we leave. President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Ibrahim Musa Gusau, has charged the Super Eagles to go for all-out victory as they take on Costa Rica in that international friendly, which will be played early hours of tomorrow. He made the call Tuesday night, which was Wednesday morning in Nigeria, shortly after the team's launch at the Intercontinental Hotel in San Jose, Costa Rica. He spoke through the leader of delegation and NFF executive member Otumba Sunday Dele Ajayi, who called on the Super Eagles to be worthy ambassadors of the nation and also vowed that the NFF under his watch will not relent in its quest to reposition Nigerian football. Well, quickly, Nigeria-Costa Rica friendly match, although you would have expected that it will be, a regular Super Eagles, but this the bulk of the team is made up of the under-23 Olympic Eagles.
We all know that it's a dead rubber game. It's just a friendly, and I feel it's a good one. Due to the fact that we need our under 23 teams to be playing a whole lot of friendlies before the AFCON qualifiers that will be happening later this year and next year. So I feel it's a good one. Salisu used to go there and prove himself. At least it will help them. It will actually boost their confidence. A win for them will actually boost their confidence. Going to the next match. So the players should just pull their best into it to ensure that they put an impressive performance. From here, we'll be supporting them. I'm hoping that they will get, if not a victory, maybe a draw in that particular match, because we know that the Costa Rican side is a very, very good national team. I don't know if they'll be playing the World Cup. I'm not too sure about that, but
yeah, they're bound for the World Cup. They're going to the World Cup.
They're bound on the World Cup, so
yeah.
It's going to so it's going to be
a good warm-up match for them.
Of course, it's going to be a cracker for them. So I feel that they should actually play this match and hold the match in a high-end steam going forward. Alpha.
Helpful. Any thoughts?
Just like Wallace is a good match for the
very good,
and I like the way the Nigeria will take the decisions and allow that the 23
exactly
because the 23 need this match more than the senior. But I feel that Costa Rica will be disappointed that they're not going to see the regular Super Eagles. But they wanted to use this as a very test match for the World Cup, and they'll be disappointed that all the regular Super Eagles are not part of the team. But not half I believe that the team should be able to give the run of their money. Yes, ultimately the result is the victory or the result, it doesn't matter. But if it go on the Super Eagle way, that will be a very moral boost.
Very well. Right, with that, we'll call it a day on today's episode of Sports Orbit. Wally, thank you for joining us. Hope you always be available whenever we need your expert analysis on this show.
Of course, I will definitely be available whenever you guys actually call me to come on the show.
All right, that's that for that. So Salifu, right here in the studio with me. Thank you for being on the show today. Hope to see you tomorrow again.
Thank you.
All right, until we come your way tomorrow again with another exciting episode of the program. Do stay safe out there. And my name is Alpha Cho, and it's bye-bye for now.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.